Hi everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our channel again. Today we are going to talk about door handles, something that maybe not all of us will think about, but it's definitely an important aspect, the handshake of our buildings and our properties that we own. So today I would like to present Charles. We are honored to have Charles with us today, and I'm just going to give you some information about him. So Charles is a pretty interesting guy. He was from the Air Force, F-16 pilot previously. That's quite cool. My favorite plane when I was a kid, always looking out for the F-16s. And he left and joined Habitus Concept, and he's been in the trade for 2 to 3 years. He enjoys endurance sports like running and cycling. So pretty fit guy. So without I'll leave the rest of the introduction to him. And today's topic, we're going to talk about why pay attention to door handles. So Charles is the expert on door handles and door ironmongery. So first question, Charles. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me, Jamie. I really appreciate this invitation to talk about what I really love about.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for sharing your passion with us. I've seen your stuff and it's really impressive. Not the normal stuff. Really premium luxury stuff. So that's why we wanted to share about this with our homeowners and property owners here today. So why did you actually go into the door ironmongery business?
This is really interesting. This story, actually, my boss is actually my secondary schoolmate, and then just one day he just said that, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody to start the business in Singapore, and then are you interested about it?" I say, "But how am I gonna do it, man? It's not easy, right?" So basically, we started, and then I actually got over get some training from him, and then about a year later, then we actually open up our business in Singapore. So that's the main thing on how it is about. How Habitus Concept is actually a Indonesian company. We started in Indonesia. We are under a group of companies called Jaya Abadi Group, which sells marbles, and we specify for commercial ironmongery, ironmongery as well. So we've been in the business for about 35 years for now. And right now, Habitus Concept, we have our subsidiary is 8 years old. And in Singapore, it's approximately about 2 years old right now. So that's the overall picture on what Habitus Concept is about.
Okay, so we talk about door ironmongery. So maybe you can help to explain for our homeowners here, what is door ironmongery actually?
So the door ironmongery, it's basically when you look at the door and all the things that are metal. That's why it's ironmongery. So things like your lock set, your handles, your hinges for sliding tracks, sometimes the floor hinges, pivot hinges, everything to do with other than the wood. So basically, we are involved lah. So that's the door ironmongery that we work with.
Okay, nice. So the $1 million question, why pay attention to door handles at all?
So sometimes door handles are something like it's a very we hold it very personal because I think number one when it comes to Habitus Concept, well, our number one key thing is always we want a very positive door experience. We believe that the door experience is everything. Okay, we believe that it is just not about something that you look at day one. It can look nice, okay, but we want it to last as well. We came here, we started with this tagline because just about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, when we started the company, and we actually spoke in depth with the clients, and then we start to hear the problems that they have. And then we realized that, hey, we want to be the one to help solve their problems. We want to make sure they have a positive experience. So we went around and we looked for things that really last very long. So that's why it's very important that we look for good door ironmongery. because if you don't, which I will talk about it later, some of the questions later, if you don't start out well, you know what happens in a house, right? The first year, every time everything is beautiful, it's nice. Then comes the second year, third year, fourth year onwards, then everything starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
And for doors are really important. The doors cannot fall.
Yeah. True. So, especially for landed property and commercial business, I mean, commercial hospitality, the doors are people don't really care, right? They don't
Hmm,
handle it well. Landed property because their doors are generally heavier, larger, so the hinges, if they are not very good, they start to fail very quickly, lah. Yeah, that's what we've seen in some properties as well. Yeah.
correct. And it's such a thing that after I joined this trade, right, then of course the main thing is we will actually go towards looking at doors, right? Everywhere we go, we are looking at the doors, we're looking at hinges. That's when I realized that when you look at some of the hotels, they are always, being used harshly, right? High traffic, that's one thing that we always talk about, high traffic for
Yep.
doors and everything. And then I realized the door cannot even close properly. Then what happens when the door cannot close properly? They take a file, then they file the door down. Then you realize that
Mm.
why do we even need to go there in the first place? Then you look to the left, the hinge is all creaking already. Then okay, it's because it didn't start out properly in the first place. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of the things that we are very, very concerned about.
Yeah, correct. So, um, so how do luxury door handles at Iron Monger compare to basic types?
Yeah. So this is one of those things that we always think people, a lot of our clients, sometimes our leads will come to us and say, hey, wow, your stuff are really expensive and they look really expensive and everything. But then we will come to them, we will share our story, our ideology, that the fundamental thing that we have is always back to what I said just now. We want a positive door experience. So a good door must have good hardware. If we don't have good hardware, the hardware is the foundation of everything. And then once we settle the basics, the door hardware, you can actually get really good door hardware for really good prices, really attractive prices. Then after that, once you get the foundation right, then we start to look at the handles. Hey, how's the handles? What kind of handles do you want? We have very basic handles as well. And then for some of our clients, of course, we want to go something really special. Some of the things always very common is like, hey, I don't want what my neighbor has. I want it to be different. Can, no problem. So we will be able to provide that kind of that level of choice and selection, such that you'll probably be the only one that has it in Singapore, other than it being custom made. So these are the kind of things. So luxury, where does it come in? It comes in on top of. So we don't want people to just look at us and, hey, this one is luxury one, cannot just basic door, so don't get from them. No. We want to let people know that we care about your doors, we care about your house. We'll fix the basics up. Let's say if we have a number to work with, we will choose the best thing for you. We'll choose something that is suitable for you, because suitability and price, as you already know, right? Sometimes you can get there's no point in getting I don't know, $30,000 like door handle, but it's not suitable. That means it's not suitable, right?
Yeah.
But how about maybe getting something that is at the right value, right suitability for a house? It must mix with the interior, the color scheme, the moods, and everything. Yeah, so that's where the luxury and in the door story is at this point of time.
Okay, so you've been in the business for some time. Maybe share with us what's the coolest feature that you've come across for door ironmongery.
Wow, this is so when it comes to doors, it's usually the size. Size does matter. So the tallest door that we have ever specified was, I think, close to 3.4 to 3.6 meters.
Wow,
And
yeah.
I saw this the other day. So one of my client just posted a screenshot of something on Instagram. They say I think the door was almost 6 meters. 6 meters. I think it was in the Middle
Wow.
East. Then asked me, can you do that? Then we say, okay, we're gonna take a while because we actually had this previous request, the one the 3.6 meters door actually
Yeah.
came from one of the pastor in Indonesia. So this door really heavy. We had to actually get to somebody in UK to look for the floor spring that was actually able to support 600 kilos of weight. So that was, to me, that is what we have done as the coolest. What I've seen as the coolest was that Instagram. I would be very keen to see because it's not only about it being 6 meters, it's about how the user experience is, right?
Yes.
Because it's gonna be really heavy and it must be assisted lah. But I don't think I can find any hardware that can can support that kind of thing. I just scratching it. Well, I'll be very keen to see how the specification process was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's quite interesting. So what you mentioned, I think I can't remember whether I watched it on maybe Netflix or what. So basically, the most beautiful, largest homes in the world. I
Yes,
saw
yes,
what they have this. Yeah, I think it's probably about 5-6 meters tall, and it's
yes,
crazy, and it's not heavy. So what they mentioned in the show was that it's the entrance to the home. It's a gate,
yes.
a door gate, and it wasn't heavy at all. So that's like pretty amazing. I was like, wow, I don't know what kind of methods they're using, and I'm not sure whether this is something that lasted, like you said, 1 year, or is it
Yes.
going? A lot of times maybe it's not specified correctly, and when you hand
Yes.
over, it's great. But I'm not sure whether it's still working well. Yeah, but that's cool. Yeah, it was really it makes everyone looks like hobbits walking through.
Yeah, I've seen those doors on magazines and everything, and like I'm just gonna talk a bit about like door problems and everything because I think that's the most things that people need to learn and understand is that the most common things is a door sagging, right? And
Yes.
doors sag because of the moment of the door, the weight of it. So the magic number that we always use is 1.1 meters um, for wall hinges.
Mm.
So you can buy a 600 kilo wall hinge, right? But the moment it goes more than 1.1 meter width for your door, it's not gonna cut it, man. The door can be like 300 kilos, right? It will start to like fall off eventually because of just pure physics. The width maximum is 1.1 meter. So then after that comes to like how do people solve that kind of thing, right? Then we go to like floor springs. Floor springs in general, they can take about 1.4 meters. That's the largest.
Mm.
So that's when somebody came up to me and said, hey, I have a door that's 2.6 meters wide.
Mm.
And I say, okay, I think we don't want to do lah, because we cannot assure. It's gonna work. It is gonna work like what you say. When we
Yeah,
install it, it's gonna work perfect for the first 3 weeks, maybe.
yeah, correct. Yeah, it's only 1 year later, 6 months, 1 year, or five
Yeah,
years. The owner starts facing quite a lot of problems. Yeah.
yeah. And then you'll get a phone call. Then after that,
Yes.
you'll call me, and then we'll be like rushing down to the site and say, oh, try to scratch our head. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, interesting. So, is there any other pain points or problems that good door ironmongery can solve besides what you mentioned about the door sagging?
Yeah, so a lot of it comes with like the specification, the how you know your projects and everything, right? And then that's will be the starting point, because like what we were saying, there are things that are good for value, and
Yeah.
of course there are things that you really have to be really really careful when you, especially if you do not know the origin of the items, and sometimes it becomes a bit dubious, and that's the one that sometimes the hinge might not work, so you must be really really careful. So there are certain price numbers that we know of, there are certain brands that we know of are definitely trustable,
Mm.
and we use things that we trust, because when we sell our stuff, it's more like a reputation, right? because we
Yeah.
sell the experience. Experience equals reputation. We don't
Yes.
dare to go something the cheapest and then charge the highest and earn a big margin. You can only be in the business for like maybe 1 year.
Yeah. Probably
Yeah.
before you get found
So
out.
yeah, before you get found out, right? I mean, we've been that's why we learned this along all our years in our company. That's why we say we gotta look for something that is really, really not everybody is palatable. The palette for things that are expensive, there's always a concept, right? In the prices of door and mongery. For example, on our hinges that we sell, the stealth hinges, right? We
Yeah.
start our prices at $348. People are like, what? I go to the hardware store downstairs and I'm getting it for $25. Sometimes I can get $5 if I buy 100 of them. But of
Yeah.
course, you do not know that the hinge can take 80 kilograms. And do you know the weight of a door? We always ask them. So these are the kind of things that we look into. We look at your door size, your door type, your door thickness, then we calculate the weight. And then after that, once we know what we are dealing with, then we specify the things that is suitable for your door. And then after that, we'll work from there. Basically, the hinges must be correct, and then the closers. Sometimes, now closers are a very big thing already. Everybody wants, auto close, soft closing,
Yes.
and then
Correct.
hole opens. Yeah, these are the
Yes.
kind of things that is really accessible now. It's not really expensive. And it helps you to add that value in life, right? When you go into the house, you go into your room, you don't want to have to. The magnet sometimes don't work, right?
Yes.
When we were growing up, we had the magnet door. Then back then, after a while, it just keeps coming out because the magnet is dying already.
Yeah.
So
Or
now
the
we have
wind blows. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So now you have then door slamming. When you close the door slam. So now closers are really really readily available. But also the thing when it comes to this, like closers, there's so many different brands out in the market.
Yes.
Yeah. So we also have one brand that we stick to for closers right now. And it's the kind of the same thought process that we deal with. But why do we just stick to that brand? It's because we know that it works after 30 plus years of using it, and it's trustable.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when we go, things like hinge closers, then we come down, then we talk about the lock set. Lock set is also another thing that
Yeah.
is like really the main pain point that everybody has. Number one problem is the spring. After all, the lever will droop.
Mm.
It's because the spring is they didn't use something that is of a good quality lah. So we always want to make sure that the spring inside is good so that it can last. So for example, we use our brand is Miwa, right? It's made in Japan, designed Japan, made in Japan, and the thing really lasts. So what we do is for our residential projects, if you were to get the one of our top range of the locks, we actually offer a lifetime warranty for our locks. So for example, if your lever handle droops,
Yeah.
we're going to go down on site, we're going to look at it, and if we think that it's because of the manufacturer fault, right, we actually will give one new lock set, just replace the lock set, no questions. Because the Japanese, they gave actually a 2-year warranty. Then we were crazy enough to go like a lifetime. Yeah. But that's how much faith we have in. We started
Yeah.
using them in 1985, and we had really a spectacular record with them. And we were specifying to hotels. Like we had the opportunity to take this and put it in commercial properties, right?
Yeah.
Hotels, offices, World Trade Center in China was done by my parent company. And you get thousands and thousands of actuations. So they are our they are our testers already. Right now we're bringing all our consolidated information and knowledge to our clients right now. So
Yeah.
that's the issue, the lock sets. Yeah. So do you have any questions so far right now about what we have said just now? What I have said so far?
Well, is there any other reason why one would want to invest in good ironmongery? So of course, is for it to last, etc. Any other reasons that homeowners or commercial property owners, hospitality retail shop owners would want to invest in that. Yeah, any other perks?
Yeah. So we when we talk about just now, it's kind of flows, right? So we talk about the basics really, the foundations really. It must be there. It's very, very important. Then now we can talk about the handle. So when we've been using Miwa first we started out with Miwa, then we found that the designs, they were very focused on the locks. So designs wise, they were using very, very clean designs. And then when we started to have a different segment of clients, then they wanted something different. They wanted very unique handles. They wanted unique materials. And that's when we start to go into the luxury segment. And when we talk about luxury, we always think about like aluminium is always the base point, right? The baseline. And after that, we talk about the next thing is you go into stainless steel. Stainless steel is always good at outdoors, toilets, for example. And then when we come back, then now we're looking at a brass. There's a revisit. There's a rebirth of brass right now.
Yeah.
And brass is in the past, in historical times, brass was really the go-to material, because the other materials did not have the the malleability to really form into the shape that they want. And it's very lasting. Brass doesn't rust
Yes.
if you treat it properly.
Yeah, it's a very nice patina as it ages. It ages very well. Yeah.
That is why we trust Elmer's. We only trust Elmer's brass, because they actually pre-oxidize in their workshop, the brass. Otherwise, oxidation is how you want to tell whether your brass handle is good. It's not like I say, not day one, man. It's a day 900. Then we come back and we compare the handle and we say, okay, now we know that this is the winner. But it's hard to tell people that, you see. I mean, other than us going into houses and taking photos of all those things.
Yeah.
But brass, then after we talk about woods, very rare woods that sometimes Elmer's catalog has 2,500 items.
Yeah, I remember. Very thick. Yeah.
Yes, it's so thick, right?
Yes.
So it has everything. Olive wood, maple wood, and they really carve it down and everything. And the next level of luxury in the almost the same segment, then we'll come to the leather handles, which is a very, very challenging material. Leather is like women love handbags, right? Because leather just gives that very luxe feel to it. It gives a very warm feel to the house, right? It's a very, very incredible material. But a lot of problems with leather comes when, on the catalog, it looks fantastic. But when we receive it, then it's not really nice. So whereas for Elmer's is really different. That's why for now we're really transiting into really trying to get really close up, really cinematic views of our handles to show people without even seeing the real thing that, hey, this, it's Elmer stuff. The artisans, there's just about 2 or 3 of them doing leather in Japan.
Oh, so
They
it's
really, yes, they hand stitch the leather. Yeah. So how do we know that the stitching is good? The quality, the thought process that goes in is when you look at the threading of the leather, and then you look at how they thread and then how they braid. A lot of the handles are braided for the leather handles. How they tie, how they melt the handle, the leather to the metal portion. And then when you look at that, then you look at another, some other leather handles, then you tend to realize that, wow, what is Elmer's, what is it? How do they get to such a quality? Because I was visiting one of another designer, then I showed them, I actually took out the handle, then the boss of the company asked all his designers to come over and see it and said that, hey, look at this handle is really incredible. The finishing, it doesn't frill and everything.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things. So then as we want to know why, then we kind of went into, we always engage our principals and then we talk about it to them. Then they explain to us like what is the concept about Elmer's. Elmer's doesn't have a factory. What Elmer's has is they collaborate with workshops in Japan, 200 of them in all over. And then basically they have artisans in the individual workshops. So if you,
Oh.
yes, your workshop, they focus on maybe item 1 to item 25 in the catalog. And they just do, and they focus on one material, aluminium, 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 aluminium. And they are very good with their finishing. Elmer's is about 75 years old right now already. Just
Mm,
after World War II, then they started the company, and it's been around since. So what Elmer's does is they choose all these workshops. Then if the quality of the workshop is good, then they will actually engage the workshop to supply for them. So that's one of the
oh,
main things.
great.
Correct. Of
Oh,
how the Elmer story is like, and that's why we actually go into them. So when we talk about the people that they hire, it's not like, hey, I send a resume, I come and work for you, then I kind of cut the handle. No, they are artisans, they are craftsmen, and they
yeah.
really spend their entire I would say apprenticeship, and then they really go into perfecting their art. And that's why when you look at the edges of the handles, the casting, you really look close up. It's unparalleled. It's really, it can't be. I would say that there are very few competitors that can match the finishing and the
Mm,
quality. Yeah. So on top of problems, then sometimes now we move to the next thing where we solve the problems and we say, hey,
yeah.
some of the 40-year-old, they have made it already. The 50-year-olds, so they have made it already in life, and I want to enjoy life, man. And then that's where we bring out the really fun stuff, and you can have a look, and maybe we can sit down and we can see how to make our home a very special experience. Yeah. So we have been very lucky to work with many of our clients, and very unique materials, leather and brass combined, really luxe, and customized rose gold. We've seen really a lot of projects that really we find very fruitful. When we have also worked with clients that we
Yeah.
want, that focuses on quality, long-lasting quality. So I would say that, spectrum-wise, we're covering everything. We just want to make sure that your door experience is good. That's the main thing.
Nice, great. So I know your handles and everything are really interesting, but I think what a lot of people will be asking is how much should a homeowner be prepared to invest in for a good set?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is one of the questions that we always say. The number ranges. Okay, maybe we love to tell stories because we sell our things through stories. And how we got um, more well known in the industry was there was one day we actually went into an existing project with the doors, everything was fitted up ready. And then we went in, then we look at the hardware. Then we're like, why is based on these dimensions and everything, why did they use that hardware? Then we realized that the issue was the hardware was insufficient. So then there's a problem.
Okay.
So the handle that was on it was really nice, man. I think it was almost like 8 to 10K, maybe more than 10. But the hardware they were using, like it's maybe $25, maybe $50.
Oh no, what a
So we
mismatch.
started, yeah, we're like, hey, of course we gotta tell them in a very nice manner. I think the hardware is insufficient. So every
Mm,
time when people specify for doors, they buy the best handles and everything, but they tend to forget that the hardware is equally as important. That's why
mm,
it's very important that we choose we make a quality hardware. We choose quality hardware. That's a very important thing. Yeah. So how much? That's back to the question, right? How much? We say 1 to 5%. So on bigger projects, we always say 1 to 2%, depending on the number of doors you have, and
mm.
whether you have very unique specifications. Especially if you have a door that is like just now I told you 1.6 meter wide,
Yeah.
then we got to think about something unique already. We got
Yes.
to coordinate a lot with the door supplier, the wood panel supplier, because we got to prep the floor hinge. We got to shift the hinge We got to shift the hinge where the pivot point is to make sure
Yeah.
that the door don't fail prematurely. Those kind of things just adds up. On smaller projects, we tend to find the number 5%, something to be quite magical, and it works out quite well, 5%. So, we always have people coming up to us and say, yeah, the hardware buy $30. Then I said, okay, yeah, can $30. I think it works. Some of them are really, really good value, and it really depends on luck, depending on where you want to get your things from. If you have a very trusted source, $30, it works long term. Then I think that then you can stay down there and then use that supplier. But typically, when we work the numbers in the HDB right now, just hardware alone, we can talk about something close to about 2,000 to 2,005 for a very comfortable 4-room flat with about 4 doors or 5 doors. Just
Okay.
the hardware only lah. So after that, we will talk about, when we talk about houses, bigger houses, we're talking about like maybe close to, if let's say a standard terrace house,
Yeah.
maybe 3 stories or so, we probably can work with about 10 to 12K or so for a very standard, very durable, very clean designs. And then the number starts to go up, like we can go up to, anything 40, 50 is possible also.
Okay, so you mentioned like 5% or 1 to 2%. This is
Mm.
actually of the renovation cost or of the property value?
Oh, of the actually the renovation cost, so the entire project value. Yeah.
Okay, project value. All right, all right. Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
so that's the main thing that some numbers that we work with.
Nice. Okay, thanks for sharing. So, talking about the luxury door handles, what's the most expensive door handle you've come across, and well, why was it worth the money?
What's the most expensive?
Yeah.
Actually, the most expensive ones, right? On the catalog, yes, that is already there's something that is, we know that is on the higher end. It's very those ornate pieces that the Japanese, some of the other clients, like in Japan, it's very Japan focused. They're very flair, a lot of carvings and everything. Those can go up to 15,000 a pair. But the ones that kill, right, is actually not the no or not the ones from the catalog that are expensive. It's the one that where the clients want customized designs.
Wow.
Those are the ones that the customized cost, the cost of the customized handle is actually expensive. It's because of the design and the testing that goes into it. So that's where the money comes in, where the the big price of it, the big price of certain handles come in.
Okay, and how much would those customized handles cost?
Okay, so for some of the customized handles, okay, we did this for Fairmont, and sometimes they have a theme,
Yep.
and some Fairmont or St. Regis, they want to be very unique, and they don't want anybody else to have the handles that they have, and those are the ones that we went for one door. I think it was 20, so that was I think that was the largest that we have ever seen.
Nice.
Like, yeah, this kind of jaw-dropping numbers. We also jaw-drop.
20K, 20K.
Yeah, almost for 2 pairs. So it's about 10. They were able to keep the price. So if you buy 1 pair, it's 15. But you buy 2, it's 20, because the mold is the one that costs a lot. They need to
Okay.
cast the mold out.
Yeah.
They need to create the mold.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
mold is very expensive also.
Okay, well, nice. Thanks for sharing about that. Well, interesting. I guess the sky's the limit in interior design and architecture. I mean, in luxury goods. For sure, the sky's the
Yeah.
limit. I mean, yeah, we have lights that cost 80K. And I'm like, 80K. Yeah. But there's, of course, a history and reason and craftsmanship behind it, which I never appreciated until I went into, until I dated my now husband, who's, yeah, is very into design. Yeah,
I
then
see.
history lessons. Yeah. It's quite interesting, really quite interesting about all this. Thank you so much for sharing. So we have a question from Simon, and
Yeah.
he's asking whether we can show some examples of good door handle. So I'm not sure whether you have anything here, or if not, we can maybe after this I can post some on my Facebook page. Yeah,
Yeah. In
and
fact, actually, I can just pull out on my Instagram. Let me just give me a minute.
sure.
Yeah, then I can. It's possible to share screen.
Okay, I've just given you. Yeah, you should be able to share screen now. Yeah.
All right.
So, and maybe
So,
while you're doing that, you could also let us know about where homeowners can
oh
view
yeah, correct,
paid items. Yeah.
correct. So, uh, for us, we're very heavy on social media, and that's our page, Habitus dot concept. That's our Instagram handle. And from there, if you have any queries or anything, you can always drop us a DM, or you can give me a call as well. We'll put out our numbers. But basically, I'll just run you through some of the things that we actually look at. We have our own in-house brand as well. It's called Corner for the door hardware. It's a distillation of all the knowledge that we had, and then we went in to design and build our own door hardware. We're
Nice.
starting on that, and it's been going really, really great. Especially building things that is well within our control, knowing what we put into it, knowing where we produce it, and we're very confident on the things that we build and sell. So
Yeah.
for example, some of these handles, like what you can see in this picture is actually I would say this one is more slanted towards something more designish.
Mm.
Very, very clean and sleek lines. It's a combination of like it's square, but
Yeah.
how to square is really very trendy sometimes. You don't want everybody's having a circle, cylindrical handle, right?
Yeah.
So the Europeans, the Germans, they like to have squares, Italians, but how
Yeah.
do what's the Elmer's take on it? The Elmer's take on it is we can take that and we can actually add something to it by carving something out on the other side. And it really changes the whole look of it. It really makes your house, when you look at the handle, you look at the door, it really gives you a very different feeling. And then the
Yes.
lock set,
Yeah.
like what we were saying just now, is very, very important. Miwa lock set. So we always take a lot of, we focus a lot. This is one of like, this is like the leather and metal, just like what I told you just now. So these are the kind of examples that are really, really high up. You get down to really strong, like very bread and butter handles will be, let me find.
Okay, so while you're looking for that, I just want to mention something really very interesting that you told me the last time we met when
Yeah,
I saw your products. That I thought was quite cool. So you were telling me that for the Japanese, right, you
yeah,
put the locks at the top, and then usually we have it at the bottom, right? I mean, in
yeah.
Singapore, and and it was quite interesting because you mentioned it. I don't know, maybe it's like the Japanese get drunk and it's easier to open. But I think it really
Yes.
makes sense. After one, I think about 1 month later, I was thinking about it. I was like, I was telling my husband, I think this really makes sense to put the lock. I mean, it's so difficult to have to go under the handle when your eye level is here, right? You have to go under the handle
Yeah.
to access the key. So
Yes.
very interesting. Yeah. It hit me like a month later after I met you.
So maybe now I'll tell your story. Your story is more legit at eye level.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe it's you're not blocked by the handle, right, when you access the key and the cylinder.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about like what's a typical handle. So this is actually a Miwa handle and a
Mm,
Miwa lock. And you
yep.
can see that it's a very, very bread and butter handle, but ergonomically and the quality is really good. Ergonomics are really good as well. So what we do is that the clients don't, sometimes you don't have to get every part of your house. Sometimes you need a bread and butter handle, a bread and butter lock set. And this is what we call like a bread and butter. It's very, very sleek, very reasonably priced for the value that and the durability that it provides. You can see over here.
Yeah.
So these are some of the bread and butter handles. And we got, Can message us anytime. Our catalog is on our website. And you can always, you know, download to have a look. And you have any questions or anything, you can talk to me, message me. We'll always be very, very glad to help people and just talk about it. Even if you don't buy, you have just questions, you can just DM me and I'll help you to answer, especially if you have existing door problems. We'll try and see whether we can help or not. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much, Charles. Is there anything you want to add?
No, man. I really thanks a lot, Jamie, for having me here and to share something I'm really passionate about. We always want to make sure that everybody has a happy home.
Yes.
We always say that there was this story. I'll just finish it off with a story.
Sure. Yeah.
So we went to this guy's house. Then so we were specking for him. Then after that, we show him our lock set price. Then after that, he was like, wow, so expensive. Then we share him the story of durability and everything. Then after that, he will say, wow, my one also 25 years, what? Also never spoil, what? I use the same brand. I say, so you must have been very, very, very gentle with your door locks and everything. Then after that, we share our story. We say that, we also would last for very long. But the moment we change to Miwa, the spring is so creeps. Everybody around the house, when they use the door, they get happier, they smile more every day now. It is something, the door is something that you hold.
Yes.
It's not something that you just see. You have to, you get to hold it every day. You want to make sure that you really, really get it right the first time. Then you don't have to get a locksmith or, a contractor subcon to come down and then fix it. And it's like, then if you have spent the money on at the first one, then you wouldn't have that problem. And you have a nicer handle and a nicer lock set to use.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So that's our story, yeah.
Yeah, just like for my place, right, during circuit breaker, my handle spoiled, but so my handle and my lock set spoiled, basically for my toilet. And then but luckily my husband's a designer, so we 3D printed a flexible thing, so we could just use it as a hinge. Not a hinge, basically it's just a makeshift. Yeah, but because circuit breaker, no one's at open, right?
Yes. Only emergencies, right? And I think plumbers, electrician, I think locksmith, unless you really lock yourself out.
Yeah.
But otherwise, any major problems, it won't come down and fix for you.
Yeah. Correct. So luckily we had a 3D printer. If not, it kept opening when every night, and then my aircon goes out, and then it's so bright in the morning.
Oh, I see.
So we
Okay.
3D printed this flexible filament and makeshift. Yeah, very ugly. Okay, when I need to change my door handles, I can't buy you. And thanks so much for being here today and sharing so much of your knowledge with us. We really appreciate it. I think a lot of home owners and property owners it's an eye opener, and I really love your products. Very sleek, definitely looks wise. And of course, you have the whole master key concept and all those functions that's required. And the hinges look so nice. I mean, all your hidden hinges, right? Concealed hinges. Yeah. So thank you, Charles. So thanks everyone for viewing. So if you have any other questions, just drop it in and then into the video, even if you're not watching live, and then we will get to your questions. So this is Charles from Habitus Concept. Remember to go to his Instagram and follow them at Habitus Concept. Okay, so signing off. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Jamie.
Okay, bye Charles.